Taking a lacrosse ball, you can roll on the outside of your shoulder blade, kind of rolling back and forth, up and down if there's any spot that's sore in particular or a little more tender. You can also roll on the back side of your shoulder here, and I forgot to record, but get the inside of your shoulder blade as well. Then we have that down dog position just to warm up that overhead position. You can do this with both arms, but if you want to be a little more advanced, take your opposite arm and touch that opposite toe. Then going back to your plank position, we can open up. We want to make sure that our shoulders and hips are stacked and you're rotating as far as you can. You can combine this exercise to do the toe tap and go right into the twist. Then we're going to be working on our T's, our bent T's, and our Y's position. So holding that up, I want a 5-second hold every time you lift up. Here I have the 2.5 pound weights. So that's a good place to start if body weight's too easy. And then work your way up to the 5 pound weights. Like I said, I want, anywhere from 5 to 8 reps with a 5-second hold up to 5 pounds total. Take a band and get some tension around your wrists. Keeping your elbows on the wall, you're going to draw 3 semicircles going in to out. I like to do 3 reps up and 3 reps going down, 3 reps at a time. For this exercise, roll forward. You want to drop your chest as low to the ground as you can. Roll back in and lift up. See if you can hold for 1 to 2 seconds. Then you're going to thread the needle. You want to drop that shoulder all the way down to the ground. You're going to place that elbow down on the ground and then rotate that elbow up to the ceiling as far as you can. So rolling all the way through, come back, dropping that other elbow, and then rotating up towards the ceiling. So here I'm just rolling up and down over the foam roller over my mid back just to loosen it up. Then I switched to more of a hinge position over the foam roller. You can start with it lower on your back and then slowly start to move up your back. The more up your back that you move, the less range of motion you're going to have, but that's okay. Next, we're going to switch to our half kneeling hip openers. So you should feel this in the front of your hip flexor. Then we're going to open it up to a 45-degree angle to stretch out the groin. Then straighten out your leg. You should feel this in the opposite groin and continue to do some rockbacks. To strengthen your hips, we're going to hold a side plank position. So your shoulders, hips, and legs should all be stacked. I generally like to hold those for 20 seconds. If you want to make it more dynamic, lift your legs up and down. And warming up that core, we're going to do dead bugs. So opposite arm, opposite leg are going to reach out. Try to keep your back flat on the ground the whole time. Transitioning to the strength, we're going to do a dumbbell pullover. Still try to keep your back nice and flat on that bench and lift that weight behind you as far as you can go. For the dumbbell arm bar, start by punching that weight up towards the ceiling and then rolling that chest over as far as you can go. You should be looking at the weight the whole entire time. Don't let that arm drop when you roll back and continue twisting over and back. If you want to bump up this exercise and make it harder and work on some more shoulder stability, I recommend taking a kettlebell and holding it upside down, and you have to keep the bell from falling over. You can also twist the kettlebell back and forth when you're in this end range position to make it even harder. All right, coming to the prone end range lift-offs. This is that position that's super important for throwing, so we want to make sure that this position is nice and strong. Here I have a 2.5 weight, but we should be working up to at least a 5 pound weight for these. Next, we got some banded pulses going all the way up. Make sure to not stick your ribs out when your arms are coming up overhead. Keep that core engaged. Moving to the forearm and elbow section, grab something that's top heavy like a golf club, a bat, a hammer, and then we're going to do these supinations and pronations. Try to control that whatever your weight is going back and forth. These are called ulnar deviations. Keep that elbow straight and bring up that weight behind you. If you're using a bat and it's too light, feel free to throw a donut on the end there. For wrist flexion and extension curls, I like to have my forearm supported off the table, and then you can start to curl up all the way and down all the way. So same thing when you're going the opposite direction. Keep that forearm supported and work that full range of motion. Working on mobility, this is one that you guys can do daily. Make sure your fingers are facing towards your knees and rock back for a more intense stretch. The most important thing with the plate pinch walks is to be squeezing those thumb and fingers together for that grip. The first variation is going to be the cross-body partner toss. So try to keep your trunk a little more upright than he's doing to let the arm do the work. Next is that external rotation focus, so keeping that elbow in that 90-degree angle. These are the partner contacts. He should be making contact with my hand as hard as he can. This one is the eccentric focus, so he should be fighting me on the way down and also on the way up. On the way down, I am applying more pressure than I am when he's coming up. Then we got our scaption catches, throwing up and catching it as quick as you can. Stand close to the wall, and we're going to work on that layback position, getting that ball as far back as you can and throwing it hard into the wall. Next, we're going to work on these reverse flies, and I want you to rip it into the wall as hard as you can throw it. I'm going to give you guys some extra exercises and stretches that we didn't go over in the workshop. This is my favorite lat stretch. So I'm going to put my arm into a band and then I'm going to walk out until it stretches. If I want it to be more intense, I'm going to twist and turn over to the left. Hold this for about a minute. Just to loosen up the arms, I'm going to swing them back and forth before I do a cross-body stretch. You guys can hold this one 30 seconds up to a minute. This one's a really good chest opener. Your hips and your upper back should be against the wall the whole time. Try to keep your elbows and your hands on the wall as you do these wall angels. This last one's going to be a doorway stretch. So place your forearm inside of a doorway and walk forward until you feel a stretch in the front of the shoulder and the chest. If you want it to be more intense, you are going to look the opposite way. In this case, it's my left.